we're in a renaissance of protest globally, huge renaissance. And it's directed mostly to authoritarian states, but also to democracies, because people are understanding that neoliberal economics and fossil fuel, all of it is just leading to ruin. And so this reckoning, with the concentration of wealth around Musk, the corruption of Trump, the crypto, everything going on, it is going to open many people's eyes and hopefully lead to a process of rethinking about our democracy. Because we were on a really good path. The 2022 midterms gave us more diverse representation than ever before. We really were, and that is why we're having the backlash. And if you read Strongmen, it's 100 years of backlashes, and we're in that cycle. But we can recover. I am an optimist by nature. Otherwise, I'd go crazy writing this, being in the heads of these like awful people all the time. But or they're in my head more properly. But I believe that we will come out of this stronger as democracy.
Well, and I think increasingly I'm thinking along these lines as well about rejuvenation, right? But that's a word often autocrats use, right? So Xi Jinping talking about national rejuvenation. So I'm using it
Yes.
in a democratic way, and
Yeah.
thinking about how things are getting worse, they're getting bad. I think the economic impacts of all these policies, the inequality that it will induce, among many other things are going to get worse before they get better.
They are.
But
I was just going to say the same thing.
but political progress is nonlinear, and I think after that moment, how can we rebuild our institutions and strengthen our democracy? What are the kind of new ideas that we need to reinvigorate this political system, which I think even prior to Trump, people were beginning to sour on just the responsiveness and the quality of our democratic institutions. I want to be sensitive to time and also tee you up for one final moment of optimism here. One of the themes you were talking about in your work and in our remarks today is about weak, strong men. This idea that because of the nature of authoritarian government, these guys are not invincible, why they might seem to be. And underneath them is not only usually an insecure, narcissistic character, but also some real deficiencies in their governance structure. And so a lot of people feel a little bit powerless, a little bit lost right now. I think there are feelings of despair. You talk about despair in your book at the end, about how how exhausting these types of moments can be. It can lead people to feel despair, and apathy is the friend of the autocrat, right? That's exactly what they want. And so can you provide people with 2 minutes of Ruth advice about what do I do in a time like this? How can normal citizens, people who don't hold power, who aren't influential, how can we all play our part and do our part in this moment?
Yes. So one of the things that authoritarians want to inculcate in us is hopelessness and helplessness, and to make us feel that whatever we do is not going to make a difference. But the very act of their cracking down on the free press, on protesters, makes us realize that they know our power. If they didn't think we had power, they wouldn't do these things. And so I think it's really important to do everything from I think registering people to vote. I'm very haunted by the tens of millions of people who no longer vote, and they don't do it because they feel apathy, and now they're particularly disillusioned. I think it's important to join some kind of civil society organization, to be active. And everyone can resist in their own way. I think there's a huge future for economic boycotts, and that's how you get to elites. Maria Stepan has a really good piece, the Horizons Project, talking about the way we need to disincentivize elites from collaborating, make them see that there's a price. And that has worked already in this Trump 2.0 period with certain corporations. So use your power, know that you have your own talents and ways that you can participate and resist.